the thrust of your argument is that we cannot let daylight in on magic. That the royal family only exist if you shield them. And actually, I mean, I don't agree with, if you know people who've been to Thailand to abuse young children, you should go to the police. But the broader point about the royal family might be true, actually.
I think
we have to draw the curtains on them.
I think it is. Warts and all, when you see them, it cease to be special. Why do we put the same family on a pedestal, treat them with kid gloves, lots of deference, and no accountability?
Brits admit the royal family only exists if we shield them, yet it's Harry and Meghan who keep the crown alive. It was the confession that echoed through Britain's fragile palace walls, like a long-buried truth finally forced into daylight. The royal family only exists if we shield them, said Jeremy Vine, a statement so unvarnished, so piercing, it sliced right through the centuries-old illusion of untouchable monarchy. For once, a British presenter said what the establishment has always whispered behind closed doors. The survival of the royal family depends entirely on public protection, not divine destiny, not moral superiority, not even public service, but image control. And yet, as Vine made that rare admission on air, he forgot to include the critical footnote, the exception that proves the rule: Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex. Because if Britain truly stopped shielding, sanitizing, and spinning royal behaviour, the only members left standing with authentic credibility would be the very two people the institution cast out. The unspoken truth behind Vine's confession. Jeremy Vine's words were not just a statement, they were a revelation of how the British media ecosystem sustains the monarchy. For decades, the royal image has survived on a fragile truce between the palace and the press. The palace feeds stories, the press protects the crown in return for access. It's a toxic dance of deception wrapped in velvet tradition. Yet when Harry and Meghan broke free, refusing to play that "you feed us, we protect you" game, the entire system cracked. Suddenly, the couple who were once expected to be the monarchy's modern hope became its greatest threat, not because they were wrong, but because they refused to be controlled. That's why Vine's comment hit so hard. Because when he said, "we shield them," every viewer who's watched the hypocrisy unfold could only think, shield them from what? From scrutiny, from consequence, from accountability. Yes, and from the truth that Meghan and Harry are no longer the villains of the royal story, but the lifeline that reminds the world why royalty ever mattered in the first place. The shield has cracked, and the truth has escaped Britain, once believed it was shielding a family of duty. Now it's shielding a dynasty of double standards. While the institution hides behind polished balcony waves and controlled headlines, the Sussexes live unfiltered lives of purpose, service and love, in California, not Windsor. And ironically, every time the tabloids try to humiliate them, the couple's integrity outshines the entire royal apparatus. Jeremy Vine's shield comment exposes that contradiction. Because if shielding is necessary, then honesty is fatal, and no monarchy that fears honesty can call itself honourable. The hypocrisy of shielding the crown, while attacking its brightest lights. Let's be clear, if the British media truly stopped shielding the monarchy, the public would be forced to confront things they've been trained to ignore. They would see that the institution's most loyal defenders, the same ones who smear Meghan daily, have protected individuals accused of crimes far darker than tabloid gossip. They would see the financial deals, the privilege, the press briefings, the quiet punishments for anyone who dares to challenge the system. And yet, amid all of that, Prince Harry and Meghan, the ones who left to protect their mental health and their family, are painted as traitors. Why? Because they refused to be part of the cover-up. Because they believed that love, compassion, and accountability should not be luxuries, but expectations. If shielding the royals is what sustains the monarchy, then unshielded truth is what gives it meaning. And Harry and Meghan, through their freedom, are doing what the monarchy could never do for itself, making royalty human again. The irony of dependency, the crown, needs the Sussexes. The greatest irony of modern royal history is this: The very people the institution rejected are the ones holding up its global relevance. When Prince Harry and Meghan walk into a room, the world listens. When they speak, headlines appear. When they act, impact follows. Their humanitarian projects, Archewell Foundation initiatives, Netflix series, and philanthropic ventures have done more to modernize the image of compassion, inclusion, and service than the royal family's polished photo ops ever could. Even when the British press tries to diminish them, it inadvertently elevates them, because their presence reminds people what authenticity looks like. The world doesn't fall in love with crowns anymore. It falls in love with courage. And Meghan and Harry are the monarchy's last glimpse of courage. The crown's survival depends on public affection, and public affection now depends on authenticity, something Meghan embodies effortlessly. Her empathy, her intellect, her willingness to speak truth to power have done more to keep people talking about royalty than any jubilee or balcony wave in recent memory. If the royal family truly survives on public shielding, then perhaps it's Harry and Meghan who are shielding them now, not with silence, but with relevance. Without the Sussexes' story, the monarchy's narrative fades into irrelevance. The 7-year smear campaign, the price of jealousy. It's been 7 relentless years. 7 years of distortions, dog whistles, and double standards, all because one woman's light was too bright for an outdated palace to handle. Meghan's success, her poise, her global admiration, they were supposed to make the monarchy modern. Instead, they made the palace insecure. When she stepped onto the royal stage, she didn't just marry into a family, she married into centuries of unspoken rules about who gets to shine. And when the world adored her more than it adored the future queen, the institution panicked. Instead of embracing her, they unleashed a coordinated smear operation, one that continues to this day through royal correspondence, TV pundits, and online trolls masquerading as concerned royal fans. So yes, Jeremy Vine was right. The royal family only exists because it is shielded. But what he forgot to say is that it also attacks those who no longer agree to hold the shield for them. How the Sussexes redefined royalty without a throne. Harry and Meghan's departure didn't destroy the monarchy, it exposed it. And in doing so, it gave the world a blueprint for what leadership through humanity looks like. They've built lives rooted in purpose, not protocol, empathy, not entitlement. Through their projects, from the Me You Can't See to Heart of Invictus, they've turned pain into advocacy and criticism into motivation. Every success they achieve outside the royal orbit reminds the world that dignity is not granted by a crown, it's earned by action. Meanwhile, inside the palace, the Windsors remain trapped in the same loop of ceremonial gestures and outdated expectations, all carefully shielded by a press corps that fears losing access more than losing credibility. The contrast is staggering. One side hides behind shields, the other builds bridges, and the people have noticed. The public has evolved. The palace has not. Britain's younger generation doesn't see reverence in secrecy. They see relevance in transparency. They don't dream of serving a monarchy that hides its flaws. They admire individuals who confront theirs. That's why Meghan's message of compassion, mental health, and self-respect resonates so deeply. It's the voice of the new era. Meanwhile, the royal establishment continues to cling to outdated notions of loyalty, ones that value silence over sincerity, hierarchy over humanity. The more it shields itself, the more disconnected it becomes. Without the Sussexes' modern lens, the royal brand risks fading into historical nostalgia, a relic of ceremony with no emotional heartbeat. And that's why, deep down, even the palace knows it needs them. Harry, the prince who still embodies the promise of service. Prince Harry remains, even now, the most authentic embodiment of his late mother's legacy. His compassion, his vulnerability, his refusal to let privilege silence truth. These are the qualities that once defined the monarchy at its best. And it's telling that the same nation that mourned Princess Diana's pain now repeats the cycle against her son and his wife. But Harry endures. He continues to serve veterans, mental health advocates, children in need, all without a royal budget, a palace staff, or the media's protection. When Jeremy Vine said the royal family only exists if it's shielded, he unwittingly confirmed what Harry has been proving for years. You don't need to be shielded to serve. You just need to be sincere. Why Meghan Sussex represents the future. Britain pretends not to want Meghan is everything a modern Britain should celebrate: diverse, educated, empathetic, forward-thinking. Yet she became the target of a national campaign designed to make her leave. But here's the twist. Instead of diminishing her, it elevated her into something even more powerful: a symbol of grace under persecution. When she walks into events, when she launches her lifestyle brand, when she sells out a cardigan or a hat in seconds, she demonstrates the influence and admiration the crown can only dream of earning. Her impact is economic, cultural, emotional. She doesn't just move markets, she moves hearts. If the royal family truly depends on being shielded, then Meghan's independence shows what happens when you remove the shield. Truth stands taller than title. The global mirror. The world sees what Britain denies. Across the globe, the narrative is different. International audiences see the hypocrisy, the racial bias, the double standards that British commentators try to disguise as tradition. They see a monarchy desperate for respect and a Sussex family that earns it naturally. In the US, Europe, Africa, and beyond, Harry and Meghan represent evolution, the idea that nobility is a matter of integrity, not inheritance. And while Britain debates their every move, the rest of the world has already chosen its modern royals, not the ones behind palace gates, but the ones standing proudly outside them. In the end, the shield belongs to Harry and Meghan. Jeremy Vine's words may have been unintended truth, but they exposed a larger one. The monarchy has always survived because the people agreed to look away. But Harry and Meghan taught the world to look closer. They don't need to be shielded because they've earned what no PR team can manufacture: trust. And that's precisely why, whether the establishment admits it or not, the royal family's remaining relevance still depends on them. For it is the Sussexes, the very ones the tabloids tried to erase, who now shield the monarchy from total moral collapse simply by showing the world what royal dignity should look like. And that is the ultimate irony. Britain may claim to shield its royals, but it is Harry and Meghan Sussex who continue to shield the idea of royalty itself, not with secrecy, but with truth.
And that wraps our daily diaries updates. Harry and Meghan always keep the world talking. And if you enjoy this update, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and for more royalty served with honesty, just right here on Daily Diaries Friday. Till next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep shining. See you next time with more royal news and good vibe. Bye bye.